Hi guys, it's Michelle, and today's video is going to be a very interesting one. It is pop culture conspiracy theories. You guys know I absolutely love pop culture and everything surrounding it, so conspiracy theories with pop culture together, it's like pretty much my favorite types of videos to film, and we have a lot of interesting ones today because there's kind of a lot going on in the pop culture industry, and it is insane, so let's get into it. Okay, so the first conspiracy theory you guys have wanted me to cover since this started going on. It's pretty crazy, and I think that, I don't know, we're gonna talk about what I think. The rapper 6ix9ine accused Ariana Grande and Justin Bieber of buying their spot on the Billboard Top 100 #1 spot. You know, first of all, I don't really think it's true, but there is some truth to the theory that I want to talk about. Basically, 6ix9ine made the accusation that, you know, Ariana and Justin's management, which is Scooter Braun, bought 60K copies right at the end of the tracking week. However, Justin, Ariana, Scooter, like pretty much everyone regarding this situation spoke about this and said that's not true. They just simply, for public records, submitted the 60K in sales at the end of the week. Just basically submitted it in bulk. This is a strategy essentially that a lot of record companies will use. It would be more obvious that the song was doing really well, so then 6ix9ine would probably promote his song more. So it's like a strategy in that sense where you don't to kind of keep it at a blind eye so that other artists don't know how many sales are really coming in. It does make sense. The numbers do add up in the sense of you can actually see this. It's like public record of how many times the record sold, and you know, it adds up with the 60K. Like it didn't just 60K out of nowhere. The record did sell. I feel like obviously an Ariana and Justin Bieber record is gonna debut at #1. I feel like it just makes sense. And not only that, but before the 60K sales came in, they started selling signed copies of the record. So obviously that's going to increase sales a lot more. It's literally Ariana Grande and Justin Bieber. Those are some of the biggest pop artists of our generation. So I think it's makes sense to me. I don't think that they bought their spot in the Billboard Top 100, but I do think that sometimes people do, and we're going to talk about some of the conspiracies surrounding it. Though this specific theory has been disproven, I 0% trust Scooter Braun about anything. Fucking first of all, I can't stand Scooter Braun, especially after the whole Taylor Swift situation, but that kid's been pissing me off for like a decade, honestly. His ticket prices are absurd. His meet and greet prices are actually astronomical. Just overall irritating. The theory of artists buying their spot at #1 is nowhere near new. It's definitely something that's been around for decades. And the first time that I saw it was regarding Taylor Swift. For the longest time, I actually believed this conspiracy was true. Like I don't know, I didn't even think it was a theory, which is probably why I haven't talked about it. But people genuinely believed that Taylor Swift's father bought 100,000 copies of her first album in order for it to, you know, make the charts and go #1, because she was a new artist. No one had really heard of her, and then all of a sudden she was super popular and her album was #1. I thought that this was literally true. Apparently it's literally not true at all. And also I don't even think that that's that bad. If it were true, it wouldn't make me respect Taylor Swift any less than I do, because I respect her a lot and I think she like works really hard, and I think she actually has good music. And you could just tell, I think she deserves everything that she has, but like obviously getting a jump start is hard. So I didn't even think anything bad of her if that were true. Like if her dad actually bought 100,000 freaking copies of her first album to make it go #1, because you know, exposure is such an important thing and it's so like hard to get out there. So I think like it doesn't discredit her entire career or anything like that people say, because I'm like, girl, you still had to be good and still had to have good music, and she literally writes all her own music. For sure not shading Taylor Swift in any way. I love Taylor Swift forever and always. I think that this theory stems from the fact that Scott Swift, Taylor's dad, actually did buy part of Big Machine Records, which of course is the old label that Taylor Swift was signed to. I didn't even think it was a theory, honestly. I fully just thought it was true, so it's interesting to read that it wasn't. Of course, while I don't actually believe that Taylor Swift's dad bought 100,000 copies of her record, I don't think that that's so far off base for what new artists probably do, or at least what their record labels do for them. And this like really got my wheels turning in my head, because I just feel like it doesn't make sense. It's kind of crazy how like that one song that like is by an artist and nobody knows, and all of a sudden it just is at the top of the charts like that. And I think essentially it's probably has to do with the fact that record labels probably do buy extra copies of songs and help push out a record. Because how else does that make sense? Like, if you've never heard of this person, you know, no one's anticipating their new music. It just, I feel like this is like a real conspiracy. Like, I think it has to be that. I've always thought that there was really shady business going down with the charts. I feel like a lot of it never makes sense to me. How long people stay on the charts too, I don't know. I just think the music industry is probably one of the shadiest damn industries that there is. And personally, I never believe anything that I see on the charts or like the top 100, you know, all that shit. Like, I just think it's so rigged, basically. Like, why wouldn't it be? A lot of these record labels have so much money that, you know, say in theory, if someone like Taylor Swift like came around, she was new, the record label really loved her, they thought that she was going to be super famous one day, why wouldn't they just spend all this money buying hundreds of thousands of copies of her album so that it goes #1? Because obviously it would have paid off by now. Like I said, not saying directly that I think that's true with Taylor Swift, especially because it was like kind of a different time, like 2007, 8, whatever. But, you know, artists today, like, I feel like, I don't know, dude, I kind of believe it or whatever. I mean, I don't think the whole thing is corrupt. I think there's definitely still people that do just like naturally get to #1. Maybe their music is either really good or they're already really popular, which is part 87 of why I don't fucking believe the Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande one, is because, first of all, A, it was a charity song. I feel like, why would they find it necessary to like really boost that to, you know, the top of the Billboard Top 100? Not only that, but Ariana and Justin are like very famous, so it's not completely out of character for them to have a song debut at #1. So, like I said, while it may not be true for the artists we've talked about today, I don't put it past any record company to not do something like that with someone that they really believe has the potential to, you know, break world records, be super famous. Why wouldn't they like try to like jumpstart their career essentially and, you know, get their name out there? I feel like it really makes sense. I don't know. Everything is literally corrupt, so that's just how I feel. But I have seen a lot of people talk about this, and a lot of people do think in general the music industry is a bit shady, especially with the stuff that went down with Taylor Swift and Scooter Braun. I just feel like stuff like that must happen all of the time, and I just think it's crazy, and I think it's really interesting to talk about because, I don't know, sometimes these artists pop up out of nowhere, but are they really popping up out of nowhere, or are their record labels just pushing them and getting them exposure by, you know, essentially cheating the charts? Ariana and Justin all claim that that is illegal and can't happen, but I feel like usually with businesses and stuff like that, they find a way around it. It is legal, and it just, I don't know. It freaks me out. It really does. I would love to know what you guys think, so let me know in the comments below. So the last conspiracy we're going to talk about revolves around celebrities and COVID-19. Ever since Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson contracted the coronavirus, a lot of conspiracies have been going around about it, and they're honestly pretty fucking crazy, and I'm kind of scared. I've seen this conspiracy go two ways, and the first way we're going to talk about is that people think that these celebrities who claim to be tested positive for coronavirus don't actually have coronavirus. I guess the reason that people believe that this is true is because, you know, we saw Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson, you know, they're huge celebrities that we, you know, all know, and they were sick with the virus and then they recovered and everything was fine. So not only did it like make us want to take social distancing seriously because anyone could get the virus, even your favorite celebrity, but two, that everything's gonna be fine. Like, it's like they're trying to like calm the panic a bit by like, you know, having someone like Tom Hanks, who's obviously like older, like he's not old, but he's, you know, 64 or something, you know, having them fully recover and be completely fine. So a lot of people believe that celebrities were actually used in a way to like both control the coronavirus and have people start social distancing, which obviously if you follow any celebrity, I'm sure that they've promoted social distancing to you. Two, because we wanted to see our favorite celebrities recover and be completely fine. So like kind of lessen the worry a little bit. So a lot of people actually really believe this conspiracy theory. I kind of agree with it just because it was so weird how many celebrities turned up having tested positive for coronavirus but having no symptoms at all. Like, is that because of faulty tests, or is it because our government is lying to us? So Cardi B actually really spoke out about this, and I should do a whole freaking video on, you know, conspiracy theories that she has spoken out about, because she says whatever the hell she wants. She said a lot of shit about, you know, the music industry and just the entertainment industry as a whole, and she spoke out about this particular conspiracy theory and essentially said that it was confusing people that all of these, you know, big celebrities were testing positive for coronavirus and having no symptoms, because it makes us have the impression that you can even get tested when you don't have any symptoms at all, which is 100% not true, especially at this point, when in March, I guess, when it all started happening. But even now, you still pretty much can't get tested unless you have symptoms, and sometimes even if you have symptoms, you can't get tested. And I find this to be pretty interesting because this was all happening, this was in March, I think, maybe early April. Heidi Klum, who is obviously another big celebrity, was really sick. She had all the symptoms, flu-like symptoms, cough, fever, like literally every symptom. And she could not get a coronavirus test. And she was like talking about it on Instagram, how she could not get tested, which is pretty absurd when you think about it. Heidi Klum is like super famous, but then all of these other famous celebrities and actors can be getting tested without having any symptoms, and meanwhile Heidi Klum's over here like literally in bed drinking fluids, like has a flu symptoms and can't get tested. It just doesn't add up. It never makes sense. And like obviously she lives out in LA, like you'd think celebrities would have special treatment, and that's at least what I thought at first. But now at this point, maybe I do believe the conspiracy, because like why were these like select group celebrities that tested positive for coronavirus able to get a test when meanwhile they don't have symptoms, obviously besides Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson. They don't have symptoms, they're fine. Why were they able to get a test when people and celebrities like Heidi Klum, who were actually sick, could not get a test? Like, I just think that's crazy. It's crazy. Back to Rita Wilson and Tom Hanks, there have been a really weird conspiracy surrounding them, and it kind of terrifies me, if I'm being honest. They contracted the virus in Australia and they stayed there, quarantined there until they were finished having the symptoms, and they tested negative again, and they flew back to Los Angeles. Also seen two different threads of this theory, which is, first of all, that the one that I won't talk about because I don't really think it's true, is that they went to Australia, they're sick, and then they still are sick and they're still there, even though they're like in LA and they were like lying about being in LA for some reason. I personally don't think that makes sense, but people have a conspiracy that like Tom Hanks is like actually super sick, which I hope is not true, and I don't think it is. But we're gonna talk about the next conspiracy, which I guess I believe more. There is no explanation for this. Rita Wilson filmed this little video clip while she was in Australia. She claims she was in Australia during this clip, you know, recovering from the virus. And there was this clip, which I actually cannot find the clip of. Apparently it's deleted everywhere, but I've seen like screenshots of it on Twitter, where apparently she was in Los Angeles at that point. Like she was, I don't know, on some type of interview or Instagram story. I'm not sure. Honestly, if you do have the evidence for this, I would love for it to be linked below, but I feel like I should still talk about it because if it is true, I don't know what to say. But basically, obviously, as you can tell, the backgrounds are the exact same, even though one was supposedly in Australia and the other one was supposedly in Los Angeles. So that makes little to no sense. So yeah, that definitely got people's conspiracies turning. People think that either, like I said, that they're still in Australia, or that they have never left LA and that they weren't in Australia at all and that they didn't actually have coronavirus. They just pretended that they did because they wanted to get people to start taking this seriously, but also not be panicking, because we need a pretty good balance in order to continue on. Like, I like to not believe this theory, but at the same time, I just feel like since the government is just, to me, very corrupt, I think that like it's a possibility. A lot of people are getting weird about their backgrounds in general, because even though they're in LA, like they film in front of this weird brick wall like in their laundry room, which also kind of doesn't make sense, because I'm like, you probably live in a multi-million-dollar house and mansion in Los Angeles, like wouldn't you have like a cuter background? Really scary to think about if they really do have celebrities just lying about being sick in order to kind of make us feel better or make us social distance more, which obviously we should be. So if it is, then that's great, because yeah, I guess, or to take it more seriously, because you know your favorite celebrity is getting sick, makes things a little bit scarier. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? I've been thinking about this for a while, but when I saw that like footage of Rita Wilson like in Australia and then the picture of her allegedly in LA, I've been researching for this, so if anyone can find it, that would be great, because if that were true, like, I literally have no words and I don't even know what I would think, because that's just absurd. What do you guys think about all these theories together? We talked about a lot of corruption of, you know, different industries. That is it. If you guys like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about these conspiracy theories. Who do you think is telling the truth? Who do you think is lying? I would love to know. But that is it. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram, because I'm always posting really dope ass shit on there. Subscribe for new videos every week, and I will see you guys later. Bye!